Well, I decided to make a video out of this because I answer this a lot and from different parts, but I think people have to finally look at everything like as a screenshot because you guys will understand what I'm saying. Okay, um, play with me for a second. You see this agency here, the FDIC, the agency that's responsible with insurance, all of our money in the bank. Okay, they're the ones that are in charge of it. If anything happens, our deposits are insured. All right, so I'm going to take you one step further. Give me 1 second. You see this piece right here? That means they got that amount in the billions. Okay, probably have some money left over, whatever. But let's just say 2, 3, 4 billion, whatever. Okay, let's say somewhere around there. That's what they got. Okay, here's the problem. Remember that number. Let me see if I can find you something that's close. You see this here? This was in 2020. You want to know what that number is up to now? That number in total is probably around $8 to $9 trillion in deposits in US banks. Okay? So if you go back, remember this amount here? He's not going to save you. You see this amount here? How is this going to insure $8 to $9 trillion? Do you understand what I'm trying to point out to you right from the beginning? How could an insurance policy in the billions cover uh, an amount in the trillions? And the answer is it can't. Okay. Now I'm going to all right. See this here? This horrifying number that is here. But most people are not understanding, and I'm going to highlight here. Pension funds and other non-bank financial firms have more than 80 trillion off hidden balance sheet dollar debt in FX swaps, the Bank of International Settlement said. So, you see this scary, scary thing here? Well, it hasn't hit yet. It's hitting. Oh, it's hitting. Let's just clear up. You see this here? Silvergate Bank? You're seeing this, right? Now, they're the largest lender in the crypto world. FTX collapsed. Silvergate now is collapsing. That means that Genesis is collapsing. And so goes the dominoes. But hey, forget about that one. I'll take it a little bit further. Okay? Now we go back to the beginning. We know that FDIC can cover in the billions. Okay? They can cover in the billions. But we're starting to see something very scary. There's about 8 to 9 to 10 trillion in US banks. And FTX alone was about 80 trillion in bad paper and US dollars. Okay, so that's scary world. That turned around and caused other problems like Silvergate collapsing. Okay, and people are withdrawing money crypto, but which they're going to turn into cash and take it out, whatever, causing Genesis and the other ones. Basically, the ripple effect has started. Now, forget all of that. Now, let's go to, BRICS. There you go. Okay. You see this here? This here means that there is a secondary new reserve currency popping up on the world. Almost like something scary is coming to the US dollar and the US economy. But nonetheless, these are the currencies that make up the BRICS. There's one that's not there right now. But when it is there, get ready. Because it is going to cause shockwaves. And that is yeah, Saudi Arabia is about to join the BRICS. That means they're not going to sell their oil anymore for US dollars, killing the petrodollar. Okay? Now, this little piece here, the possibility of Saudi Arabia joining the BRICS shows the world is moving from Western dominance. Okay, now let's get to the behind the scenes on this. So you got all the countries in the world creating a new currency system. Okay, a basket of currencies that are going to be exchanged back and forth on, obviously, the Ripple network. I'm not going to get into the whole XRP stuff, whatever, but they're going to be using that as their super highway for cash settlements. And on top of that, the country that we need to survive to back up our dollars, Saudi Arabia, is about to join the BRICS. Now, you take a look at that, you take a look at what FTX just did, and then you go back to these guys over here. The collapse is already here. And this is your last line of defense to your bank account. Why? Because the BRICS will change the way the money moves around the world and what money, and the price of oil and other commodities around the world. That will cause shock waves to the European banks, the American banks, Canadian banks, Latin American banks. It just caused nightmares. As far as the stock market collapsing, easy peasy. It's going to collapse in ways people don't even understand. And these guys here have a couple of $1 billion to ensure people going to banks and taking out trillions. That brings us to this. And most people, they don't like discussing gold or silver because it's heavy, it's ugly, it's old, it's whatever, and people just don't understand. See, but all those central banks around the world, they're looking to back their currency with gold. So I'm not a big believer in central bank digital currency. And by the way, if you wondered how the FDIC is going to wind up insuring all that money, all those trillions, I'll get to that in a second. But just understand something. These prices here, this is if this was an OTC stock or a regular stock, this would be in the 20 cents, not even that. This would be like 11 cents. Okay? Because all I can tell you is all the central banks in the world are buying large amounts of gold. Yep. Now, you can do whatever price, whatever currency, whatever, but let's just use the dollar for now as the world standard for now. Now let's go to the other one. You'll understand everything now. Okay. Why is the US eyeing a digital dollar? The digital dollar is coming on the back of the FTX collapse. The digital dollar is a long way from reality. Yeah, that's why they're going to do the rollout between this month, January, and June. But you need to understand something. Around the world, there's a currency battle happening. Countries are taking sides on what they're going to be using as their currency. Central banks around the world are buying large amounts of gold in order to back up their currency and their new digital whatever, digital yuan, digital ruby, digital whatever, digital ruble. So they're going to back it in gold. Everybody's going to have a digital dollar or whatever currency it is. So when the nightmare to the world economy happens, because it's going to be happening now within the next couple of months, we're probably going to get hit by it. I think, yeah, probably before June. So the FDIC, that's in the billions, has to insure trillions. So now they're going to have the digital dollar that's going to be put out there in order to show up your bank account because you don't even see paper money anymore. So get ready for the mass hyperinflation because this, my friends, is the chicken at $9 billion. So now we have that coming, and the crazy thing is, most people don't understand this and this. My friends, you could be in the stock market. You could play the options game. You can be stacking money under your bed. You can do anything you want. But the game I just showed you right there is leading you right back to this. Because the governments cannot insure what's in the banks. That means they have to go digital once everything goes south and people try to take money out. Because they're going to have to digitize your bank accounts to basically put those numbers back in. Now, the worth of that digital dollar, that's yet to be seen. They're going to back it in gold, but hey, that's a science experiment nobody's ever seen. So, why is this important for people to have physically in their hands? Well, let me tell you something. You see this here, 2382? I could easily see this. I could see this probably within the next year, year-ish, 50, 60, 70, $80. And that's conservative. So gold and silver are going to go up because currencies are going down, because the money in the bank accounts cannot be properly insured, because the governments are going to go to central bank digital dollar currencies, and the only way they can back those things is by backing it with gold or silver, which is what they're all doing around the world. They may say, Lou, what's the purpose of this whole video? Very simple. Prepare, because what's coming is some unholy shit. And it's not coming years away from now. No, between January and June is when the digital dollar program is going to be introduced into the United States. Other countries around the world, their central bank is already doing the digital dollar stuff. Okay, I think it already appeared in 2 countries in the EU or Europe, as because I grew up when it was Europe. People, you have to prepare, because at the end of the day, if you think a stock going bad was bad for your bank account, let me tell you something. You don't have to look any further to the craziness that has happened when this popped up. The global financial system is not just vulnerable, it already collapsed. We're just now seeing the first waves of it. I hope this all makes sense. I showed you that your money in the bank, it's not even the government's fault. There's more money in the banks that can be insured. The solution to that is the digital dollar, but the digital dollar has no value, so it's going to create a very big inflationary risk to you, me, everybody. So the way that central banks are trying to offset that, they're backing it in gold. But the problem is that's going to cause even more craziness in the new valuation of what this currency is. So with all this nightmares that are coming, this new digital dollar, no way FDIC can insure everybody. What do you come back to? The one thing that you're going to be needing. Gold or silver. Because you may not think these two metals are important, but apparently central banks and governments around the world are buying them up like crazy. Imagine if your stock had that type of a rise. I see this $3,000-4,000 easily, probably by the end of this year. This 50, 60, 75, maybe up to 100. So if stock markets start to go bad and start to look ugly, start to get crazy on you, you know where everybody's going. Shine love, be safe, prepare.